Thank you all for joining us this morning. My name is Daniel Staffenberg. I'm honored to be Dave's colleague at the Jewish Community Federation of Richmond. It's really special to be able to come here together and celebrate our friend and colleague, Dave Brackins. I'm going to be your guide through the evening, and want to welcome you first to about the safest. Well, I'll tell you when we get there. You're also in probably one of the safest rooms in the country at the moment, so that's a good thing. Dave, I know how much you absolutely love the limelight. You love speaking in front of groups, and I'm going to ask you to bear with us all as we share how much you mean to our communities here in Central Virginia. The truth is, I wish we weren't here. I wish that our Jewish community, our friends from other faiths, and really all communities didn't have to worry about their safety as they worship, gather together, and build community. While we continue to build towards making that dream a reality, we're blessed that Dave and our partners at the Secure Communities Network, SCN, are leading the way. It's hard to believe that it was just a few years ago when we welcomed Dave to our team as the first Jewish truly regional Jewish community security advisor. Title is tripping me up. Initially, Dave was handling us here in the greater Richmond area, Charlottesville, and the Virginia Peninsula, and we were thrilled to welcome our friends in Tidewater shortly thereafter. Not only that, Dave, as you know, is easy to make friends and seems to find every Jew throughout the Commonwealth, whether they live in a city of hundreds or a couple. There's no question that the Shabbat of October 27th, 2018, the Congregation Tree of Life in Pittsburgh, was and is a watershed event in American Jewish life. The moment of that terrible day and the others that have come since in Poway, Muncie, Jersey City, Colleyville, and unfortunately so many others have tested our core values. Those values, caring for each other, lifting up our neighbors, and working to make the world, the entire world, a better place for everyone. And of course, among, for Jews, the most important, pikuach nefesh, the ethical mandate we have to save a life. Dave lives these values daily. He has taken to his role as partner, security advisor, and mentor with professionalism, wisdom, understanding, and passion. He gives each of us 100% of himself every day. He has trained hundreds of members of our community, built meaningful partnerships with local, state, and federal law enforcement, as evidenced today, and reached beyond our Jewish community to welcome and support all faiths. He's provided invaluable guidance to so many events and organizations throughout our community. Prior to Dave joining, our agencies had received a grand total of $100,000 in nonprofit security grants. Since his arrival, he's a moneymaker. Well over $2.5 million and counting has been awarded in Richmond alone. It doesn't count the millions more in the other communities that he has served. Dave understands pikuach nefesh. He also understands that saving a life happens not just in times of emergency. It occurs through the implementation of good safety practices and the development of a culture of safety, training, and awareness. He also knows that our members, our community, both Jewish and secular, need to understand that we value their safety, while at the same time providing a welcoming place to pray, learn, and be together. Dave understands that pikuach nefesh isn't just about stopping an attack, security, or emergency service. It is about belonging, caring, and people. It is his work that has provided a feeling of safety, and equally important for people to feel empowered and be active. As our colleague Betty Ann Levin really apologized for not being here to celebrate you, the CEO in the Tidewater Jewish Federation shared. We're so appreciative of Dave's partnership with our community, our local law enforcement in Norfolk and Virginia Beach, and specifically with those in our local FBI office. I will, of course, mirror that for here in Michigan. Dave, you are a consummate professional and have contributed greatly to improving the security posture and preparedness of our federation in Tidewater, our community campus, and all of our synagogues. From all of us in Tidewater, on behalf of Betty and the team, this prestigious and well-deserved award. Dave, I can't do anything but echo Betty's thoughts, and I know I speak on behalf of so many of us here in Richmond, the Virginia Peninsula, and Tidewater, who you have served. Thank you. We are truly blessed by your work, friendship, and care. With us to celebrate you today are a variety of special guests and friends, and I'm going to miss somebody, so I apologize up front. Representing the initial partners in our Central Virginia Regional Security Program, Eric, did you make it here? Eric Maurer is the new CEO of the Virginia Peninsula Federation. He had intended to come. It would be great if he wasn't. Craig Pfeiffer, Chief Communications and Marketing Officer, and Robert Graves, who, yes, Dave, I met before I met you, the Regional Security Advisor mirroring Dave's work in the DC Capital Region. Both of them represent our amazing Partners in Secure Communities Network, leading the way on behalf of the entire North American Jewish community. We are led here. I think my friend and partner Amy Nissenson just walked in. Amy, can you stand up? Amy is our new president of the Jewish Federation, as well as so many of Dave's professional partners who are here to celebrate. And with us from our friends and partners at the FBI, although I saw about 3 or 4 more walk in, so I apologize. Special Agent in Charge, Stanley Meter. Assistant Special Agent in Charge, David Lewis. Supervisory Special Agents, Greg Hunt and Anna Michelle. Did I do that right? Outreach Specialist, Leslie McLean. She couldn't be here. Well, you get to stand up. And Dee Rabisky, my new friend, Public Affairs Specialist and Congressional Liaison. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your partnership, not only with Dave, but on behalf of so many of our agencies and synagogues locally. I'm also blessed, and I see our friends from our local Hanover Police Department. And I've gotten messages from Richmond and Chesterfield sharing their appreciation for you. I guess they weren't able to join us, but I want to thank our law enforcement and most importantly, thank them for their partnership. It is now my honor to relinquish the mic to Craig Pfeiffer from SCN to say a few words from.
Thank you, Danny. Rob and I did drive down from DC this morning, and Dave, I have to say there's no greater honor we can give you than being willing to spend a few hours on it. It was touch and go, but we are happy to be here, and I'm very happy to bring greetings to all of you. We are the official safety and security organization for the Jewish community in North America. And as such, we work to build a security shield over our entire community so that Jewish life can not just survive, but thrive as it is here in this wonderful. It was so great as we were walking into the parking lot this morning to see children play. That's what this is really all about, making it possible for people to live in peace and for Jewish life to thrive. And at the heart of this effort to build a security shield is the work that our community security director and our regional security advisors like Dave do to establish and administer comprehensive security programs in Jewish communities all over North America. And they do this in very close partnership with local Jewish federations. In fact, Dave's program here was the first in North America to include multiple federations across a large area, thereby expanding that shield, strengthening that network. So I want to thank Danny and Betty Ann and Eric for their leadership and all of their colleagues across Richmond, Tidewater, and the Peninsula for helping to protect the Jewish community all over Virginia. Another crucial partnership we have is with law enforcement. And that's no better illustrated than the close working relationship we have with the FBI. We are able to exchange real-time actionable threat intelligence through folks like Dave in the field and through our National Jewish Security Operations Command Center in Chicago, so that we can act on threats, hopefully prevent them from ever being carried out, or at least investigate them if they occur. So that is a really important relationship we have. We thank Director Ray for recognizing Dave's work in that regard. We thank Special Agent in Charge Benner, PIO Rubisky, and all of the folks from FBI Richmond who are here today, and all of the FBI team across the country and our local and state law enforcement partners. We're so grateful to you for the work you do every day to keep our nation safe, and especially to prevent and investigate hate crimes so that we can ensure the civil rights and the freedom of religion of everybody in the United States. We pray that you continue to help pursue justice on our behalf and safety and security yourselves. So now to our guest of honor, Dave. Dave, I want you to know on behalf of all of your colleagues at SCN how proud we are of your work, of the example that you set for our organization and for all the communities you serve. And we're very thankful that after 3 decades of dedicated law enforcement service, you chose to continue to serve and to do so in a way that is so important and I know so personal. One of my favorite sayings is from Rabbi Nachman of Wrocław, who lived a long time ago in what is now Ukraine. He is attributed as saying the whole world is a very narrow bridge. And the important thing is that we not be afraid. There are a lot of scary things in our world. And unfortunately, SCN is here because many of those scary things are of humankind's own making. But we know that fear is paralyzing and knowledge is empowering. And at the end of the day, really, the work we do, the work Dave does, is all about transmitting knowledge. Whether that is sharing best practices with facilities to help them understand how to improve their safety and security, whether it is helping organizations apply for federal nonprofit security grants, whether it is exchanging actionable intelligence information with our law enforcement partners, whether it is all the training Dave does for the Jewish community and oftentimes beyond in situational awareness, countering active threats, in providing life-saving first aid like Stop the Bleed. It's really all about that knowledge. And it's that work Dave does, it's that knowledge Dave transmits that helps us as we walk the very narrow bridge of our world to not be afraid. So Dave, Kol HaKavod, congratulations. Thank you for a job well done. Share the mic for a moment with my colleague Robert Graves, who is the Regional Security Advisor for the Jewish Federation of Greater Washington.
Thank you, Craig. Dave, thanks for inviting me and giving me the honor to be here with you today. Dave and I are kind of like the old timers in this program at barely 3 years. I think I was number 5 on the team, and Dave was number 6 by just a couple of weeks. Support each other throughout the many challenges we've had over the last couple of years doing this work. A true testament to Dave's effectiveness here is early in the pandemic, he had an extended absence. And it was felt to me to backstop, to support this federation and Tidewater while he was out. There wasn't a lot to be done because David done such a good job in the first place. And he had only been in place maybe 6 months at that point. But he's continued that work on, and I am constantly impressed at sheer square mileage that he has to cover. I have a lot of people and a lot of organizations, but Dave has miles and miles of miles and miles that he has to travel in order to take care of his community. One of the early lessons I learned in the Army, we should never go to a scrap alone. Within the team, we support each other very well, but we can't do this without the partnership of the federations, obviously. They're the conveners, they are the ones that put us in front of the community, help us make those contacts to deliver that knowledge, to deliver those services. But we can only go so far without the partnership of our local law enforcement partners, both at the city level, county, state, and the federal level. As the FBI veteran like myself, I'm doubly proud to see Dave get this award. So with that, congratulations. We'll turn over to SCN.
morning, everyone. I want to begin this morning by saying thank you to Dan, Craig, and Robert. It's great to make your acquaintance this morning. And to the members of the Jewish Community Federation that are here today to celebrate this occasion. I do have to begin by telling you that when I first arrived as a special agent in charge of Richmond, one of my first meetings that I had in those coming months, and I will tell you, when I think back to those coming months, it's quite a tidal wave of meetings, trying to get adjusted to the environment, get in front of who you need to get in front of, make sure you establish those points of contact where you can be to be helpful, try to get in the short term and do as much as you can. So a lot going on. I tell you that because in those first coming months, one of the first meetings that I held was here, was with Dan, the CEO, and was with Dave Brackins. However, when I pulled up into the parking lot for that first time, I shared this with my colleagues from the Hanover County Sheriff's Office just a few minutes ago. When I pulled up into the parking lot of that day, early last summer, I came around the turn and thought, oh, this is a pretty campus, never been here before. Only to be met with on the other side of the turn, what I think, as I recall, was no less than 2 or 3 charter buses full of a parking lot of kids going to some summer camp for the first day. Here I am looking for this meeting with kids running everywhere with parents. Now, I can assure you, I have 3 of mine, and I think I know how to navigate that, but I did not know how to navigate 200 plus of them, which I thought were out of the parking lot. Nonetheless, I did. But I bring up that comment because I think Craig really spoke to it and makes a very good point that I want to reiterate. In the Bureau, we say foot stomp. I don't want to say foot stomp. But I want to reiterate because I think it's very important. And that is when I came into the environment and I saw those kids, you do see happy, right? We see our children, we see happy, we see fun, we don't see worry. Now we see parents with a whole lot of worry, right? But we see kids, we see them in an environment where they're enjoying, they're going to summer camp. We recognize that that is a good thing. Whether you're a brother, a sister, mother, father, an aunt, or uncle, we recognize that is great. We also recognize, especially on the law enforcement side, we recognize because of the relationship and the purpose that we're here today, or what we're going to recognize that before, we recognize there's evil in this world. And as long as there's evil in this world, good people have to step up and do the right thing to protect the American people. And that is the mission of the FBI, to protect the American people. It's what we do. But what's interesting is if you ask me, when it comes to the Bureau as a whole, how do we get the job done? I will tell you, we have an amazing group of people all around the world that do amazing things. But that's really only half the discussion, or half the answer. Because those people, we are only as good as our partnerships are. This year, for our strategy coming into 2022, was focusing really on 4 things: people, partners, community, and impact. We are stronger with our partnerships. We are stronger when we are all around the table having conversations on how to make America safer. And that's what we focus on and we pride ourselves on. When we have opportunities to step back and recognize individuals for doing their part to further that relationship, to doing their part to protect the community, protect the American people, it is the right thing to do to take a moment, take a step back to say thank you to them when we see those shining bits of light, the shining rays of light that truly stand out in the community. The Director's Community Leadership Award was established well over 30 years ago, 1990. Annually, that award has been given out and presented by the director, and it recognizes individuals for their continued contributions. And it's actually recognizing individuals and or organizations for their contributions to educating and preventing violence. So today, the right thing to do is to take that time out because our nomination for the 2021 award was for Mr. Brackins for his steadfast effort and his contributions in that arena. I would like to say that I had something to do with it. Like, well, I came to make with David after that. That's not accurate, folks. And I'll tell you why. Because when I came here and I came into that meeting, I could tell in the first 2 minutes of talking to David, he already knew the value of partnerships and already knew what his responsibility is for not only his role, but for the community. He's been at this for 30 years. So while I would like to say today is all encompassing of last year, I would say that this leadership award, the Director's Community Leadership Award that we're presenting today is for everything he has done over the years to step forward and be proactive and to do his part of protecting the community. I do think when I think back to that meeting, like I earlier said, I'm like, may think that I had something to do with it. I continue to further the relationship, but what I learned from my people is that the relationship had been established here, and that the network and the contacts have been made, whether it's our domestic terrorism squad, or international terrorism squad, or hate crimes and civil rights program, which is led by Janelle here, our acting ASAC today. Those relationships have been established, and what's been great for me to see is the FBI SAC for the Commonwealth, the 82 of the 95 counties that we cover, is to see that sense of community, that sense of relationship, that sense of partnership that exists here. And I think that all of you, especially our members of the Jewish Community Federation, should take pride in knowing that you not only have a community of members that are doing the right thing to keep you safe, to keep our community safe, you do have an individual that we're going to recognize that has really stood out and really exemplified what true partnership is and what it means to really push the envelope to get the job done. David is focused on three things, which I think are key when we look at all the things going on in this world today. And I think we all agree it's some tough stuff going on. We're navigating some serious challenges. I spoke to a graduating class down in Roanoke last week, and I told them they graduated last Friday. And I made a mention to them that I thought it was very monumental that they were graduating on a few days before July 4th. I said, that'll give you something easily, a date to remember to what you were doing when you graduated from the police academy, because it was around July 4th. And the comment that I made to them, which I think holds true, and I would say it again today, is that when we think about the challenges going on in the world today, the challenges going on across our country, when we look back why we celebrate July 4th, the birth of American independence, I think back to, I think there were a whole bunch of challenges back in 1776 in those days that folks were navigating, but I believe folks came together and did the right thing to move a community forward, which is, I think, the reason, obviously, that we celebrate the birth of American independence as July 4th. And when I think about those challenges that we're navigating, that we're still navigating today, again, I focus on those three things. And the first that I would say, in all of these, there's no order of 1, 2, 3, they're all important. Number one is educating. Educating our communities on things they can do to be safe, ways they can be, things they can do to be proactive. The second thing they can do is share information. Share information. And the third thing that we ask you to do is be that conduit, be that partnership to us to help us connect further with the community. When you look at us as an organization, we're only about 34,000 strong. Of the 34,000, only 11,600 approximately are FBI agents, which means that when we think about our impact, we must connect and establish those partnerships. We must find those people, those organizations that we can connect with to help accomplish the mission. When I look at David, all the things that you have done, educated the community, you have shared information, you've taken steps to across the Commonwealth, and you have served as a partnership with the FBI and have done your part to be that conduit to us, to help us navigate, especially when an incident has occurred, and to help us be more proactive. I appreciate your input that you've given. I appreciate the partnership. And on behalf of the Richmond Division of the FBI, and I would say on behalf of the FBI as a whole, we say thank you for a job well done. And if you can come up, I'd like to present you with the 2021 Director's Community Leadership Award. I want to ask David to stand because in addition to presenting him, we thought it's right that if he can't carry this, we'll have this nice award around with him in different locations. We made him a certificate as well that he can actually put on a photocopier and photocopy. So David, I'd also like to present you with a certificate of recognition of outstanding service to the community and of enduring contributions to the advancement of justice, the 2021 Director's Community Leadership Award.
say a few words. How we turn it today.
Go, that's perfect. You got it.
What Sacramento didn't tell you is how he let me know that I had gotten the award. Sitting in a group with the FBI Citizens Academy, he talked about the award and then he spoke about the rarity that the recipient was actually in the room. And of course, I'm looking around at everybody else. And he read the nomination. Within the first sentence, he said my name. I think it took about a half an hour to get my jaw off the table and stop blushing. It was an honor, but one that I can't accept just for myself. I would not be here, I would not be in this award if it weren't for the partnerships that I've had that have been developed with our federation and the support of our federation leadership and SCN's leadership and our outstanding intel desk. They really should be getting this award because it's what they pass to me that I share with my law enforcement partners that really makes a difference. I also want to share this with me. I have a statewide security group that I'm with every couple of weeks. There's about 110 people, I believe, in the list. And without their participation, without them stepping up and saying, yeah, we can work with you on this, I would be doing nothing. You need that community, you need that partnership to be able to do your job. And no one person can do your job. Also want to share this with my state and local and federal law enforcement partners. It's not a one-way street. I share information with them, they share information with me, and it works very well. And anytime I need something, I know I can either pick up the phone, shoot a text, or send an email to the right department, and somebody's calling me back or they're answering up. And that is critical to the success of the program. And last but not least, my wife, Elizabeth, and my family. Putting up with me not being around, or being around but not being around because I'm doing Zoom training, especially over the pandemic, or being gone on weekends to do training or meet with folks. And without that kind of support, again, well, I wouldn't be in this job. I'd be somewhere else. So thank you all. I can't tell if you can tell how nervous I am. And, you know, I can stand in front of a bunch of people. If I broke into a training class right now, we'd be good. Doing this is just not my forte. But I do want to thank everybody for coming. For those folks who can't come, I know I have family across the country who couldn't make it. And they're either watching on the Zoom feed or they'll be watching the recording when that comes out.